from Europcar, Tor from Spirit, and Ashley Tate from All-Star.
They'll be giving you their insights on how to manage and run cleaner fleets.
Not only that, but we'll be answering your questions and hosting a live interactive quiz with prizes.
So sit back, get a cuppa, and enjoy the EV Cafe webinar. It's just
Funner.
John Curtis, you rotter. Oh, that's superb. Oh, that is superb. Funner. The AI Sam.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Building Cleaner Fleets webinar. Although you did miss that section at the beginning there, John.
We can go again.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? Let's do it. Hold it here.
Okay.
Sam, say it again.
Right, now then. This caught me off guard. Right, hang on. Let's do it. Let's rewind. Let's go to share. Tiddly palm. Oh, where's it gone?
We'll come back to it, John, shall we?
You may have to.
Okay, thank you. We're the EV Cafe team. I'm Johnny Berry, Head of Decarbonisation at Novuna Vehicle Solution, joined today by Sarah Sloman, Chief Strategy Officer at PayThrough. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Hiya. John Curtis, our Operations Director for the EV Cafe, and finally Sam Clark, the Commercial Lead at GridServe. As you would have noticed, we are missing Mr. Paul Kirby. Where is he, you might ask? Well, good question, because we just simply don't know. The last time we heard from him, he was at the IAA, stuck at the airport in Hanover. Is that right, guys?
I don't think he'll ever be the same again. The things he's seen, the things he's shared, I can imagine he'll be diving in at any second. As you say, John, he's just landed, so fingers crossed.
Brilliant.
He reckons 20 minutes and he'll be in.
Okay, well, look forward to seeing him then. But before we dive in, I just want to say a huge thank you to our gold sponsors. They are Webfleet, Zaptec, the AA, Iveco and Europcar. And a big thank you for their support in making what we do simply possible. So thank you. Now then, I want to kick things off by looking at the new report from the REA and Energy Savings Trust called Electrifying the Fleet. It highlights a few critical areas, including infrastructure challenges, fleet operators' concerns about costs and accessibility, and the role of technology in making the transition to electric vehicles more efficient. The report also stresses the need for greater collaboration between government and industry to overcome some of these hurdles. Now, I will include the link in the chat, but for those of you that have already reviewed the reports, feel free to share your comments within the chat. And do remember, this is a safe space. If you have any questions for us, as always, then please do put them in the Q&A tab, because the best one wins a mug. Isn't that right, John?
Certainly does. And we've got five other mugs as well. So we've got 6 mugs. We're having a clear out. These are the OG mugs. Once they're gone, they're gone. We're having a new design. So get them while they're hot. Brilliant.
Thank you, John. And team, have we had a chance to review the paper? Yes, Sarah?
Yes, I have. Not as much time as I would like, but I was very impressed. And I was speaking to Matt Adams from the REA yesterday, and what they do so well is pull together some things you're going to know when you read it, but do continue to dive into the detail, because there's a lot of statistics in there taken from some very trusted partners and members of the REA. And this is where these documents are based from. So from there, more experience is built and then fed back in. So it's supposed to be a collaborative kind of feedback loop. For me, I'm just a hot topic at the moment. It's just roaming and interoperability, making drivers' lives easier by allowing them to use any possible charger that they encounter on their day to minimize that downtime.
Sarah, on that then, particularly like payment solutions, they're of course crucial for making EV charging as seamless as possible. What do you think we can do to simplify payment systems?
The simplicity comes with the transparency. For me, the best type of payment is the one that you don't feel or see or worry about. It happens and that goes to the correct cost center, and the cost is reconciled where it should be, and the driver doesn't have to worry. Let's work towards taking the pain of payment away from the driver, and in the future put it in the hands of the vehicle itself.
Thank you, Sarah. And Sam, the report puts a lot of emphasis on the need for scalable charging infrastructure. From your perspective, what's the one change that could easily speed things up?
I think, well, firstly, to echo some of Sarah's points, that it's a great report. It's succinct and provides a lot of useful information in bite-sized chunks. So I think that's very, very useful. 25-page document is a good number of pages to be able to know that you can get through it and get some good information. But what needs to speed up? I mean, I think grid is probably a major thing. It's obviously a prohibiting factor for many people in many different walks of life, whether that be public charging or even at depots. So the ability to get the power, we know we've got the power, but getting it where it needs to be in the time frame that we need it for, and in a cost-effective way is still a major blocker. And we need to, I hate starting sentences with "we need," but in this particular scenario, it's not something that I can actually control. So I'm going to have to say we need to find methodology by which the government could perhaps make it easier for us to get the power it needs to go for all fleets.
Are there any sort of interim solutions that can support ensuring that you get the power available at each location in the interim without necessarily requiring an upgrade or a new connection?
I think there's two schools of thought, and both are valid, Johnny. One is to understand what you can do and what the art of the possible is with the power that you've got available, right? So there's lots of creative ways in which we can understand how fleets operate better. And I've just done a podcast with Webfleet talking all about that. In terms of how certain fleets have been able to demonstrate some significant efficiency savings, and therefore you might find that you don't need as much power as you thought you did if you can actually drive an efficient fleet and get things moving in the outset without needing these big upfront costs. But then if you do need the power, then there are creative ways, whether that's more local generation, more solar on the roof, or more battery storage, or BESS as it's called, battery energy storage systems that enable people to have more innovative ways to get power or store power locally such that they can move with their fleets. So there's lots of different innovative ways of finding ways through this challenge, but it still remains a grid challenge that we need to overcome, I think.
Thank you, Sam. And finally, John, when it comes to large fleets, it's important that they get access to reliable charging infrastructure, and I think that's quite a major concern, both from their own network and what they get from the public network. How do we ensure that these operators have what they need in order to get access to reliable charging?
I think it depends on the sort of fleets that you're running. And if you're running mixed fleets where electric is not a massive part of your current makeup, I think, relying on depot charging, small scale as a test bed is fine. I remember Graham Cooper talking a couple of years ago about we focus very much on moving the energy where it needs to be. These are fleets. Sometimes there's an opportunity to locate a fleet where the energy is. And so that's just a different way of looking down the telescope. And it is the kind of innovative thinking that sometimes we might need to have. Choosing the right operator, choosing the right model for you. DPD, for instance, don't do any home charging. They have very little depot charging. An awful lot of it is done publicly. That's a model that works for them. It doesn't work for everybody. Chris Welch, with his HGVs, has built his own depot network, which he's now sharing. And I think the sharing of networks, we've got 67,000 depots in the UK. If they were to have relatively small installations, but were able to share that installation across a number of fleets, we'd make progress a great deal quicker.
I'd second that, John, actually, because those that are putting in infrastructure at their own locations, they're often doing it for business critical operations. So they're really thinking about this sort of stuff, the operational maintenance packages, the SLA, stuff like that. So actually, in turn, that becomes a very reliable piece of infrastructure that if you're opening up to other fleets, they're going to welcome that. Anyway, time's ticking on, and we'll be digging into some more of these points further throughout the webinar. So yeah, let's crack on with our first guest speaker. But before Sam does the introductions, John, haven't we got a short video to share?
We totally do.
Tom Middleditch from Europcar, fully branded up. You've had massive queues at your stand. Tell me why.
Well, everybody loves a freebie, don't they, Paul? So we've got some lovely goodies to give away. We've been giving away some free electric vehicle rentals with Europcar, and yeah, it's been great. Lots of people here all day.
Fantastic. And what's the purpose from Europcar's perspective of being here and doing all this investment?
Yeah, so this is all about tackling that misinformation that's out about electric vehicles and letting people see them and get inside and have a seat and have a chat to us and listen to you guys, of course, to understand that these things are here and they work and they're ready for them to give them a go.
And what's been most exciting about the event for you?
I think just the scale of this, right? I mean, I hadn't been before, and we obviously talked about it a lot as what it was going to be, but, the volume of people here, everyone's coming to see us and, looking to hopefully have conversations about electric vehicles, and hopefully that's the start of everybody embracing the change.
Fantastic. And are you going to be hitting the stages tonight?
We'll certainly go and have a listen, yeah. I think is there Bar Fest I think we need to go and have a look at?
I think we might pop to Bar Fest.
Yeah, Bar Fest and a little bit of music, sounds good.
That's a plan.
We did go to Barfest, just in case anybody worried that we didn't make it there.
But I think that's for me, that's the real essence of partnership with EV Cafe. We move beyond being commercial partners. There's an understanding, there is a friendship. There's no other way of describing it. We become part of the ecosystem for the businesses that we work with. And Tom exemplifies everything that's great about the partnership with us.
On that note, is it worth making that introduction then, Sam?
It is.
Wow,
Johnny,
clever.
I don't know if you're going to spotlight me or not for the video, but I've got a fancy graphic here, which we've never done before. So there we go, right on cue.
Oi.
So Tom Middleditch is head of electric mobility at Europcar. Tom coordinates Europcar's efforts in the UK to drive the transition to zero-emission car and van hire, collaborating with colleagues from across the business to develop products, processes and solutions to support their customers, whilst also developing their own people and infrastructure for the future. Now, when these things are prepared, one of our fine ladies, Helen Parker, that helps us, writes around some fun facts. The fun fact for Tom is that he didn't provide one. It said he's thinking. So therefore, his fun fact of the day has to be that he can think, which I think is brilliant, because Tom, with the absence of knowing anything else, that's all I have to say, because that's what it says on the screen. So if you are there, I hope you're there. Are you there in terms of turning your camera on?
I'm there. I'm still thinking, Sam.
You're still thinking. All right. Well, that's the best of a fun fact I could come up with on the basis there was nothing on my piece of paper. But as always, welcome to our little show. Thank you for doing that video as well from Carfest. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, great few days, wasn't it? I love halfway through that video. There's me talking about people with freebies, and a woman walks past. She's got arms full of Europcar bags and stuff, and so yeah, look, it was a good few days, and I think it's about spreading that message, isn't it? So I think it went well.
I think you got some of the merch out the door as well, didn't you? I understand.
We did more than we anticipated, but look, that's not a bad thing. We don't mind that. I'm sitting here branded again today, so yeah, more people we can get walk around in green Europcar stuff, the better.
Look out, we got Mark Newbury on. He's on. He says Tom's a very good stinker, I think it says.
I
No,
don't
thinker.
think it does.
Thinker,
Oh God, should have
a
gone
very
to
good
Specsavers,
thinker.
John.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah. No pressure now. I know the boss is here and listening to me, right?
So tell us about Europcar, its place in EV rental.
Yeah, so let me start with this. So Europcar was founded in 1949 on this principle that if you can't afford to buy a car, why not rent one when you need it? And there's something, that's remained core to what we do. We're a rental company, so obviously that's core to what we do. But I think it points out something or brings something to light that's important now, is that, as we look to reduce CO2 from emissions from vehicles, and we know that transport is one of the biggest contributors to that, transition to electric vehicles is great, but actually moving from ownership to usership also has a really important role to play, and that's where rental can really help. It can make some economic sense, and the other guests who are on today will talk about charging and charging costs far better than me, so I'll leave that to them. But we're here to work with businesses who are ready to start making that transition and offer them a flexible way of making that start. So we've been on our own journey in terms of sustainability. So we've started using electric bikes, we use electric cars to support our delivery and collection. I think you covered on the news the other week about us transitioning our company car drivers to electric, and there's lots of other things that have been part of our own journey. And we're trying to take those learnings and share them with businesses and private motorists who are helping to start do this. And we're seeing that real mindset shift that was easy to say, among businesses who are starting to make that movement now, and the agility that rental offers them, that purchasing these vehicles or signing up for long-term leases can struggle to give them, that help them sort of prepare for what may come. And we're in a bit of a period of uncertainty, right? We keep hearing government talk about things, and that's great, but nothing's actually being said and no one's actually being told. And if you're a business and a fleet manager who runs let's say you run a 5-year fleet cycle, that picture in 5 years' time of what new vehicles you can acquire could look incredibly different. And do you really want to be making that wholesale shift over to electric when you're sort of forced to do it? So rental presents that opportunity it could be a portion of your fleet, it could be all of your fleet, but it gives you that flexibility to do it. Works across a number of use cases, right? People who aren't ready to do this or aren't sure or are nervous about doing it, it's a way of trying it in the real world conditions without that long-term commitment. Business travelers who want to take advantage of the BIK tax benefit, they can do that and they can support it. And businesses, as I say, who whatever stage they're at want to make a start in doing this, rental lets them do it at a speed that works for them, with that safety net of, actually it doesn't work for this purpose. I've learned we're not ready to do this yet. I'm going to give you that one back, but I need another couple in this area of the country for these other people. Or we're ready on car, we're not ready on van, whatever it might be. So we're growing our fleet of full electric and plug-in hybrid. We'll continue growing it. We're working through the choice of vehicles that we currently have. So we've been recently adding some Skoda Enyaq, we're adding some Kia Niro this month, and Paul's not here, so I'll talk about the vans for him, but we've got some electric vans or more electric vans joining us before the end of the year. So some smaller ones in the Vauxhall Combo and the Renault Kangoo joining. And I think particularly for vans, rental is a really important way of experiencing this and giving it a start and getting going. And the other thing rental does for fleet managers is give them that budget transparency and certainty over what's coming, because maintenance, repairs covered by us. Insurance can be us, can be you, but we'll cover those things, and you've got a little bit more understanding of what you're going to be facing in the coming period of time that you choose to rent from, which could be a day, could be a week, could be a month, could be years. We can support businesses in whatever duration they want to.
Thank you, Tom. Before you launch a survey, JC, I just want to say it's great that for the first time we're sticking to both the time and the agenda, and therefore the common denominator here might just be Paul Kirby.
Oh dear.
Who would have guessed?
Also, I've accidentally just paused the recording. That's only for our purpose only, but it's going to be streamed on other social media content. So I'm just going to hit resume recording. So apologies for that.
Recording in progress.
Jason,
can I just point out a comment from Keith Woodcock, please? He says, "Good afternoon, everyone. It's Keith from Motorade Fleet Solutions. Sorry I'm late. I was thinking."
Yeah, amazing. There you go.
Contagious.
Underrated skill.
Let's hope Paul's not thinking. So, Tom, very quick question. Nobody's renting vehicles from Europcar that are electric. Fleets don't do it. It's just not happening. Is it?
Yes, it is. We've done some things to try and help that. So, there's some conversations internally about how we price position these in the market, but other things like trying to help with range anxiety by putting these vehicles out with 80% or more charge and saying they only have to come back with 20, just to try and help people to do it. And obviously it's that flexibility again, right? This is the safe way of trying this. If you're really not sure that this is the way to do it, yes, they are. And we see in our surveys that we send out after every single rental that the people who are taking an electric vehicle score their whole experience, not just the vehicle, their whole experience of their rental higher than those taking an ICE. So we're seeing them do it. The ones that do it like it, and hopefully we'll see that just continue as we continue to grow the fleet.
Can you drop in any big names that are using them?
You sound like you want me to say you, John, but I'm not sure that's what you mean. Yeah, look, we're working with a lot of companies. I'll tell you one example I really like. We're working with a company called Film Logistics, who are in the movie entertainment business. And they're a really great example of needing vehicles for a predetermined period of time, right? They're not going to go and buy them. They need them for the duration of that shoot of that TV show or film. So they're a great example of kind of going, we've got a set period of time. And that we see that in construction and other industries as well. They need the vehicles to align with the project time. So they're a great example who are speaking to us about electric vehicles a lot of the time and taking many from us already.
Thank you, Tom. Right, well, you mentioned survey and JB mentioned survey, so I suppose we better get on with it. We're going to try something different, an interactive quiz where you can use your mobile phone. If you're not watching us on a mobile phone, you can now scan a QR code, and I'm just about to bring it up so that we can do this little quiz. Now then, with a bit of luck, you should now be able to see something called Kahoot. Now, where has our QR code gone, I ask? Anyway,
Well,
if you go to
see the whole screen, it's confusing.
Oh, that's very
I've got
confusing.
all your top banners as well.
And we knew this was going to be rubbish because we tried this in rehearsals and it was utterly painful. So let's try that again.
Get ready to join. Okay. Kahoot can be good though. Let's
Okay.
make this work. Ah, there it is. Oh, it just whooshed off the screen. Where's he gone?
Whoosh off the screen.
Go
It
full
whooshed.
screen mode for us. I'm trying to press it with my own touch screen. That's spooky if it worked.
Okay,
full
let's
screen
go
for
full
you.
screen.
There it is.
Da,
Oh,
da.
there
I've got
we
it.
are.
I'm going in. Okay.
Well
just
done,
click
Sarah.
it.
So scan the QR, put your name in, and go
done, Kate.
to
Or nickname. You don't have to put your own name.
True.
yeah. You could put yourself in as Sam and get the answer wrong, and then he'd be a loser.
Bit harsh.
Okay, so oh my goodness, right? Looks
Oh,
like people
look
have
at
used Kahoot more
No,
often
who
than I
put
have.
Paula Kirby?
Oh,
Who did that?
Don't know, but
Who
it's genius.
is that?
Who's responsible?
Whoever did
it
that.
is genius. Right.
Right.
Okay. So anybody who's going to join has joined. Let's. Oh goodness gracious,
This is
Dev,
great.
Chakravarti. Yeah, it will be if I can get the answer, the question up.
Start.
I don't know if that is Dev
Where-
Chakravarti on the basis to spell his own name wrong. Probably somebody else.
Where can you see start, Sarah?
At the top.
There's a little padlock, and then next to the padlock is the word start. It might not be it, so it's on my right-hand side of my screen, so I presume it's on the right-hand side of your
Yeah.
screen.
Ah, there we go.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
it's working.
Right.
I've got a voucher for Spectacles
Okay.
if you want, John. It's
Oh,
have it.
don't even start. Right.
oh, it's
so
starting. Cool.
here we go. Here comes the quiz. What is or could be your primary benefit of using rental electric vehicles? And this is your primary benefit. So is it try different vehicles, reduces the capital spend on backup vehicles, brings you greater flexibility with 4-hour delivery and collection, or SMR is somebody else's problem? Service, maintenance and repair is somebody else's problem.
I like how it says, let's see if you're correct. It's my opinion on that basis.
So you can choose whichever ones you like. Okay, so
Ooh.
18 of our viewers said try different vehicles, 9 greater flexibility, 9 reduces capital spend, and only 2 worried about SMR. Really, really interesting. But trying different vehicles for our
And what
market,
way, right? What better way?
it's fantastic. So I'm sorry I'm a bit pants, but that was great.
No, that was great, John. I loved that. And actually, Tom, I know I don't want to drop you in it because I didn't ask you this, but you were doing a discount for EV Cafe viewers to do this service and try the service. Is that still valid? Can we get the link in the chat?
Yes, it absolutely is. And
Let's
if I
do
can
that.
find the link and work out how to use the chat, I shall put it in there now.
Send it to me if you want.
I've
I can
got
put
it.
it on LinkedIn. Oh, well done, John.
I'll do it. Yeah, it's already on
Right.
LinkedIn and I'll do it.
Well, I want to know who Briggsy is because I'm 2 points behind whoever that is. The Thunder Thumbs got in quick.
That was good, John. Well done.
I enjoyed that. Thank you.
Right, it's
That
an
was the
absolute
shortest
pleasure.
competition. Oh, the
We've
shortest
actually
Kahoot I've
got
ever competed.
time before we welcome the next guest speaker, and I've noticed there's a couple of questions for Tom. Do we want to go to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, why
Let's
not?
do that. Okay, so let's go to the Q&A. Tom. Is the choice of car-sized, I'll start that one again. Is the choice of car less than 2 tons gross vehicle weight just a starting point? Are bigger e-rentals on the horizon?
I guess they mean bigger than a van. So Europe Car is
Yeah.
focused on, so car and light commercial vehicles, vans is our sweet spot. That's where we live. So yeah, anything bigger than that in the UK. So I guess trucks, lorries isn't in our future.
Okay, Dev Chakravarti asked a brilliant question. And Dev, if you didn't have a mug already, you would be getting a big mug. Is Europcar planning to help renters who are using an EV for the first time on things like charging, regenerative braking, etc.? Somebody's had a bad experience with another hire company, not you. You go to extraordinary lengths, and I've experienced this myself, to make sure that customers know what they're getting into when they take an EV.
Yeah, that's right. So the teams in our branches have been through EV training. They're given electric vehicles, cars to drive and experience themselves. So they've got first-hand experience of what this is like. They're then qualified as what internally we call an EV expert. And they're there specifically to help customers. So there'll be a question of, have you driven an electric vehicle before? And if you haven't, they'll be available to give extra support. And we then have a digital guide as well. So what we call the Europcar EV guide, that has a showroom of our vehicles, but also has a knowledge hub on there that has all sorts of information on charging. Also has some Zap Map tools integrated on there. So that's at electric.europcar.co.uk, and that's got all that information to help people pre and during their rental experience in an EV.
Magnificent. Thanks, Tom. And Leon Gomez asks, is subscription something you offer? If so, month to month for non-business consumers?
Yeah, so we do have some products that work for individuals that can do it. I mean, subscription is a fancy term for ongoing rental. So it's something, as we talked about, sort of sharing is what we've been doing for a long time. It now comes up under lots of different names. But yes, there are solutions for people to be able to rent, individuals to do that. And obviously businesses can do that too. And
within the range of vehicles that you have, Tom, which would you choose to drive if you could?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I drove that Mercedes EQE SUV during the EV rally earlier this year, and I must admit I still miss that and wouldn't mind having that back. Those are joining our fleet in a couple of months. I'm actually going to be driving a Kia Niro in a couple of weeks' time. That's the newest thing we're adding, so I like that. And the Skoda Enyaq's been incredibly popular since we've added those, so I think that sits pretty well as well.
Superb.
Thank you, JC. So much for sticking to the agenda. Paul has now arrived. So let's say a quick hello to Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. Well, I'm sorry. Ryanair are not sorry. They didn't even say sorry once for leaving or landing late. But there we go. I'm here now.
Ryan?
Great to have you, Paul.
Fresh back from the Hanover IAA transportation. Lots of exciting stuff.
Can you sum it up in 60 seconds, Paul?
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go with that. Great people doing really tough things sometimes, really seeing in truck, van and electric, but to sustainability. And you're seeing all kinds of fuel to reduce the immediate emissions, but also the longer term stuff around electric. And you would be forgiven for thinking it was an electric show. There was so much in electric, both from new vans, new pickups, new trucks, everything. All really powering toward electric.
Interesting. So those insights, Paul. It's now time to say goodbye to Tom for now and welcome our next guest speaker. Over to you, Sam.
If only I was prepared, huh? Here we go. Okay, Tor is, I like this one. It's got loads of really good words in it, this introduction. Tor is a trailblazer in the e-mobility market. He has been at the forefront of developing charging infrastructure and software solutions for electric vehicles since 2014. In 2019, he founded Spirii, driven by the realization that the global UK market was in need of an EV charging platform, and this is where the words start getting good, that could not only unleash the potential of electric vehicles for business across industries, but also simplify and optimize EV charging for all drivers. With a mission to democratize the EV charging market and liberate EV drivers, Tor is now expanding the reach of the Spirii platform to all global markets. And his fun fact, he recently brought a new colleague to the office. Her name's Lily. She's not a fan of deodorant. Her main skills include napping during meetings. And she likes belly rubs and sniffing out anyone who brought snacks. One would like to hope that Lily is a dog, although it does sound a little bit like Paul Kirby. And so I've also got a dog who's also called Lily. So we're in good company between ourselves. But hopefully you're there and you can turn your camera on. And as always, thank you for your time. Look at that shirt.
Wow.
That is special.
Woo!
Yeah, welcome to the show. Nice to have you on.
Thank you so much for the nice words. Thank you. And my dog is an English bulldog, so it's perfect, right?
Yes, indeed.
So big announcement today, Tor, from Circle K.
Yeah, we are proud to partner up with Circle K to sort of servicing and operate all their charges in the core markets in Europe. Also a proof point for us that we now have been sort of chosen to service some of the great brands out there. But one of many, but of course it comes as a pride to us that we can announce that today. Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. So tell us what you do.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me back in this wonderful community in EV Cafe. It's always a pleasure being here and getting more knowledge and also be able to give input. First, I have 5 minutes. I'll do it quick. On the introduction, it's cleaner fleets. Yes. And then you say the why, the how, the when. If anybody leaves here and do only listen to the first 30 seconds, the why is the technology is ready. It's also the why we need to decarbonize the world, and it's cheaper. So all of these boxes, if we made a Kahoot, we will have all of these right if you chose that. The how, well, the how is the car is here. You can just listen to Tom on the car side of Europcar, many others out there. Also, the technology on platform and servicing, the business model is ready. And then the when. For me, it's whenever you're ready as a customer, but if it was me, I would start today because it's all going on as of now. What is Spirii doing? Spirii, as you also said, we are a youngster, a teenager in the market, but been here for 5 years. We are servicing 19 markets and we are opening up business in Brazil and Mexico this year as well, just to visualize that what we are talking of today is not a European thing, it's a global thing. It's a wave across the world, which is going with an enormous speed. We've now sort of, we do an end-to-end solution. Why do we do that? An end solution in EV charging is taking care of all the troubles. When Sarah said, we don't want the pain of payments, no, you should not have the pain of payments. You should not have the pain of putting up the charger. You should not have the pain of finding a charger. All of that is the new market we try to solve of an end-to-end solution in Spirii. And that caters for fleets, that caters for private cars, it caters for company cars, it caters for heavy transport. But what is the hot topic in all across markets today is fleets. So what you chose as a topic today is really in the middle of what we cater for. And what is fleets? Fleet is it's car sharing, it's leasing companies, it's taxi companies, it's vans, it is company cars, it's everything. Fleets is actually the core of it. And how do we sort of service that as a Spirii company? Well, we try to do a seamless transition possible for the fleet owner, meaning that it's not an all or nothing. It's not 0 or 1. It is that you have a high sort of a mixture of cars in your fleet, meaning you have old-fashioned dinosaur cars and you have new modern electric cars also coming in. And of course, you need to service that mix and that slow transition going into it. Also, you need to cater for a business case because you will only choose this if you are either the Pope, which believes in it, or you see the money in it. And the good thing is there's actually money to earn or to save by transitioning your fleet into that. How do you do that? You do that by, of course, lowering the cost of setting up the chargers. Either you do it at no cost, which is allowing someone to put up the charger at your facilities or your workplace, or you do all the smart technology which comes with energy demand, or as you also said, opening your chargers to the public whenever needed, because it's the community of many. You need, while sort of opening up the market, open your chargers to the public, earn money, and lower your rate of return on your business case as a fleet owner. All of this is possible on the management systems already available, and Spirii is just one of them. So go to one of these if you want to sort of lower the rate of return and get a good business case. And then the user experience. The user experience is whenever a driver of the fleet is out there charging at the workstation, the depot, or maybe even at home, because sometimes they bring the car to their home place to charge, and of course they need to be reimbursed, or they go to sort of charge in the public space. All of this is part of the universe we cater for, because that is the importance of making this transition seamless for the ones who have to take the decision. And that is the fleet owners, whether it's a fleet owner of 2 cars or it is a fleet owner of one of our other partners, which is the largest logistic company in the world. All of these have the same main concern: how to start this transition and how to carry it through until all of the cars or the vans or the trucks or the buses are transformed. And that is what we cater for as the company of Spirii. So our customer base is, it's bus companies, it's truck companies, it is taxi companies, it is private businesses who have a large or small scale of fleets which they need to transition into the future. And as Sarah pointed out, how do we cater for this user experience? On payments, that is, we introduced plug and charge, meaning as with our proud partner Audi, they don't have to bring any credit card. They don't have to think about how to pay, because you just plug in the cable and it is identifying who is the car, who's the owner of the car, who has to pay for this charging, and it all goes automatically. That's of course much easier than bringing your token or taking up your mobile phone to pay for it. But this is the way the mobility market already works across markets. That's just one of them. As a business owner, you can also choose your own pricing on your charger, when it's open and to whom it's open, whether your employees should have a special price or the price is zero. All of this is taken care of to make this transition simple and easy. And as a company of Spirii, that is something we cater for. We're not the only ones, because just to allow everybody, there's a market for it. So don't be troubled. Don't have any over exaggerating anxiety, because it is a new market, but there's already solutions out there to cater for the fleet owner to a very, very large degree. There is bottlenecks and there is things to overcome, and it is getting availability of power in the different areas where you are. Maybe there's no power at the depot, but there are solutions of demand load management which you can onboard, or there's also energy management like frequency regulation, which can sort of, and battery solutions which you can roll out to make sure, as you very rightly sort of focused on. There's also sort of new things coming in, like how do you make this whole universe of different suppliers of public charging work together? I don't want to care about going around and then I need to do a new agreement with the local supplier of charging. That should be solved within the community of charging operators. And that is also something which is a bottleneck right now. Either we need to fix it ourselves, or we need regulation to come and say, well, you need to work together. You need to make this available across markets like they did on telco. It is coming, but it's slowly, and it needs sort of still to be improved. So all of this needs to be solved, but don't be scared. Just jump into the ocean of the future, which is e-mobility. And don't think you have to do all or nothing. You can take small steps like everybody does. And there's also a good, viable business solution in doing these small steps. Just call us or call our great peers out there who do some of the same things we do. And then I'm quite certain we will get a solution for that specific demand as well. That's the 5 minutes introduction. Basically, the takeaway, it's now and it's happening. Technology is ready. So don't hesitate. Just jump into the ocean.
Yeah, thanks, Tor. That was actually 7 minutes, but I'll let you off the extra 2.
Oh, it's worth it though. It's always worth it when Tor comes on. Thank you.
Superb.
Should we?
Yes, my friend.
Survey.
Yeah, let's do that. Right, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Everybody.
Right, let's see what happens. Speak to me. Start.
Need full screen, John, on the window.
Working on it. Working on it.
See your message.
Okay.
I don't have the QR. Is it the same one again, John?
No, it's a different one. It generates a different one every time. And like you, I don't.
Bottom right, John. The full screen thing on the bottom right you need now. No.
Yeah, I got you. There you go.
Well, I had to type my PIN in and re-enter a nickname, but that's no problem. I'll change it from 2-ton Tesla to Sarah.
We haven't got the QR code. We'll have to work
No,
on
you
that.
don't need it. You
No.
can put the pin in this time. That's what I was just saying. So I put the pin in, and then you have to do another nickname. So change it from whatever you had before. I can
And it's
see lots of
most
people coming
irritating. I do
through.
apologise.
I don't think it matters if the pin stays there. I just didn't close the screen, which helped because then I left it open on my phone.
So
I
let's
like
give it
how
a-
I'm joining but not joining. That's the
Yeah, who is that?
none of those are me. Just
I'll tell you what, Paul, though, this should tell us who that player was,
can't do
shouldn't
it.
it? Wouldn't that show us who the
Right.
player was? Amazing. We'll know who it is.
Dev Chakrabarts. Shall we get
Oh.
cracking? Any more to join? Right, okay, let's go.
Okay, here it comes. 3, 2, 1.
Which factor is most crucial to you when planning the deployment of an EV charging network? The available power and DNO connection, as Tor said, creating a revenue stream, as Tor said, knowing how my network will perform, as Tor said, or being in control of my network, as Tor
as
said.
Tor said.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Tor
Bob
said
Murphy,
some
I
good
feel your
things,
pain.
didn't he?
He did.
So those are really very relevant and very good. Well done, Tor.
Okay, so the available power and DNO connection, as we suspected, did come out on top with knowing how my network will perform. Second, being in control of my network closely behind. And what really fascinates me is creating a revenue stream came last. And I'd thought that would be right up there.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I think, John, that creating a revenue stream is interesting for people, but it's almost second or third in the priority list, right? So we people want to make sure they've got the right amount of power. They want to make sure they can look after their own fleets. And they want to make sure that that means that they're getting more efficiency and therefore lowering cost. And then eventually you then start to look at things like vehicle to grid or vehicle to building, vehicle to load, or in collaborating with other parties to ensure that they can use the network as well. So I think that's probably why it's a little bit lower down on the list. It's important.
Can I comment as well on Tor's side?
Please do, Tor. Yeah, please.
I think
and then
this
we'll come to Paul.
picture is actually also the one we meet when we meet the customers out there. The first worry on their side is, do they get the power? Meaning, can they actually charge their buses or the vans or the fleets as they chooses to? Because if they can't do that, they can't service their customer base. So that's the first and prime concern. But when they actually later on hear that we can fix that problem, then also telling them that they can actually turn their fleet charging from a cost base to a revenue driver. Of course, that gets super interesting because from a competitive landscape, being a bus fleet owner, the prices and margins on driving buses and sort of bus lines is super tight. So when you have the technical issues solved, then later on you can actually earn money from your charging, and not only having that as a cost base turns into a competitive advantage for them to attract more customers and more market.
You're right, Paul.
I mean, it is, the first thought is obviously getting in the ground, looking after my own kit and making sure that's all serviced and visible. And of course, I think people are beginning to realize, like Sam said, their vehicle to grid and all of these kind of secondary markets that will begin to open up. And I think what we've got to look at in terms of the market is with the eyes of innovation, with the eyes of the future, and help other people to see that. Like Tor said, get in, get the thing working, get the charging happening for the customer, and then open their eyes to the new opportunities, which can be really wide.
But I also think, just to add to that, Paul, is that having those conversations earlier on can help address some of the CapEx burden. So if you address that earlier on, then you can sometimes get over that initial CapEx or any finance solution. Right, we are really behind time now, unfortunately.
Of course.
We must say goodbye to you for now, Tor, but please do come on
Thanks,
for
Tor.
which is at 5 to 1, so not a lot of time. But it's now time to welcome our final guest speaker. Over to you, Sam.
Well, Johnny, we'll try and reduce some time here on introductions because Ash's is very, very short, but it is pertinent. And Ash, I've never told you this myself. but there are a few people in this EV world that have been able to build a business from nothing and sell it for something, and it's a small group of us, and you are one of them, and I'm very proud of you for doing that. So anyway, I digress. No, that's the intro. I just suddenly thought of it. Anyway, Ash was the co-founder and CEO of Mina, a company which revolutionized the way fleets charge their EVs at home. And as I said, having been acquired by Allstar in 2023, he now heads up EV at Allstar. His fun fact is the same one as last time, but it's also still fun and it's still completely bonkers. And that is that he owns 10 pet sheep. So, that's weird. But, I give you lots of praise, Ash, and then I mocked you for your 10 sheep. So hopefully that's balanced things out. But as always, you are very welcome to our show. And hopefully he is there to come on camera.
Yeah, bear with me.
There he is.
I'm here. You just need to give me a second. What's going on?
That's why Andy didn't promote him as a panelist until
I
just
can build
now.
a business, but I can't turn on my video.
He's gonna take my position as the tech king.
There you go. I'm here.
There you are, in your new livery. I think the last time we had you on the show, perhaps the last time we had you on, it was Mina in the background. I can't remember.
Possibly. No, it was Corb. I think we'll have all sorts. I could take this off, but
Keep it. It's nice.
I've moved house, and you don't want to see the decor behind me.
I thought you were looking back at the Allstar brand. Then I was like, no, it's virtual, right?
Yeah, this is virtual.
Not really there.
No, this is my bedroom. This is what I've
painted the whole wall. Yes. I love that.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate the intro. That was kind. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And so I think tell us a little bit more then about the sort of fleet angle from your perspective, because obviously we've tackled many other areas already today in the physical and digital world, but yours is yet another net variable which is equally as important. So give us a quick overview of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess less technical, I think. We purely focus Allstar on how businesses are going to pay for charging, essentially. So you've really got three core places that you likely to charge a vehicle: at work or at a depot, on the road, in public, or at home. And we've focused primarily on road charging and at home charging. So you've got multiple vehicles, whether that's 2 or 200,000, and somebody in your finance team has got to manage the payments or the expense claims, or however you're managing to pay your drivers to charge these vehicles when they're out and about. And at Allstar, essentially, we simplify that. So we've got the on-the-road card that allows drivers to turn up now pretty much every network that you could stop at in public. So Gridserve, Instavolt, Osprey, over 56,000 points now. So there's rare you're going to turn up at a charging point and not be able to use one of our cards. And then you can also take your vehicle home. We can integrate with that home charging point with your energy supplier, and we can essentially create the same experience as what somebody would have in public, i.e. tapping a card and payment being made directly from the business, except we pay the energy supplier directly. So as a driver, you go home, you plug in, you don't have to manage your cash flow, you don't have to worry about a higher electricity bill landing, because the cost of that electricity has already been paid for by your employer via Allstar, if that makes sense. And then as a business, you just get a single invoice. And Allstar's legacy, sadly, is, well, maybe not sadly, that's probably the wrong word, but fuel, so dirty word in this environment. But if you've got existing fuel vehicles, you can use that same card now as well to fill up with fuel. So you can essentially have one card that will just allow you to pay for fuel, diesel, petrol, EV, whatever's coming next, nuclear, that could be the next thing. So yeah, that's Allstar and Allstar Charge Pass in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for that, Ash. We're nearly out of time, so I'd like to welcome both Tor and Tom to come back on for the final survey and the final round of questions. Over to you, JC.
So we're going to run with Kahoot again. Yes, you're happy with that?
Yes, please. We want the Allstar one.
Let's share my screen. Not that one.
Just whilst we're doing that, I just can't believe that Ash has let the cat out of the bag, and that nuclear will be the next type of vehicle that we're going to see.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah, you don't have to charge them.
No, that's it. There you go.
Don't crash. That'll be
Okay, QR code on the screen for the very final time as we go with Kahoot. JC is learning his way around Kahoot.
Oh, you and me, JC. Well done.
There are some names in the frames already for the mugs. It's very exciting.
Booty. Who's Booty?
Don't ask. Paula Paul faces in. Briggsy.
Is that?
Flinty. Beano. Booty. We're loving Booty. Mel. Hello, Mel. RD. Anybody else?
We got a noobs in the house. I'm liking noobs.
Tell me about it. Yeah. I think I'm the noobs. Right. Okay. So, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, just snuck in,
so
Sonny.
good.
Right. Okay.
Oh, there's Booty.
The all-star question. 3, 2, 1. We're not competitive at all, are we? Look at Sam's face.
I can't help it.
What is your biggest challenge in managing a mixed fuel fleet, including EVs? The right vehicle for the right job, tracking costs by vehicle, driver, fuel type, paying for drivers home charging, or route planning for drivers, the time and effort that takes, downtime. What do you think, people?
I can't answer this question because I've only ever owned and run fully electric fleets. So,
a quick polish of the halo, Sam. 17 answers. Right, there we go. Ooh, now I think I could see that coming. Tracking costs by vehicle, driver, and fuel type, 12. 7, paying for drivers home charging. I thought that would be higher. And route planning for drivers, the downtime, and there's some brilliant tools there. Ash, you provide all that route planning information as well, don't you, through the app?
we can route people to the nearest charge point, yes. And they can actually pay for charging in the app now as well. So yeah, you know, if drivers want to find the nearest charge point, they can do that through the Copilot app. Yeah.
Right, let's see who's quickest. Right. Absolutely no idea who Booty is, but we'll find out.
It's actually Paul Booty from Fleet EV.
Yeah. You wouldn't have seen it, John, because you were sharing screen. But
yeah, thank you for helping. Now, I remembered a phrase, Ash, that you used to use, which was called bill shock. I love that phrase. I wish you'd taken that with you to All-Star Charge Bars, because actually it's so true. That whole sort of at the end of the month, what is it going to be is quite a big deal, especially if you've got to do forecasting and adjustments in your sort of monthly cycles. It's a real tough one. But that was a MENA thing, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, we've taken it with us to All-Star. We have still use it in some of the marketing. So yeah, bill shock.
I really like it.
We help you avoid bill shock is kind of what we're all about.
I think that's going to be really important when vans get more on stream, because more and more vans go home and they don't have that mechanism of AER, I don't think, in order to just kind of reclaim on a monthly basis. So I think as vans go more mainstream and we see more of them going home and charging at home, then I think we'll get more of that kind of thing. But it's a brilliant solution and makes a real difference to people that really don't have the money to be able to just let the bill go up.
Oh, it's just relevant in the car world as well, of course. You know, I mean, this is, you know, Ash, I know you didn't get much chance to answer questions before, but you know, convenience is amazing of what you explained, right? I just think the overall convenience and being able to pull all these different facets of the supply chain together for all vehicle types, cars and vans, is phenomenal. It's a great service.
You're absolutely right, Sam. Let's ask a question of Ash. Nick Gerald, you may know him. He says on payments, with payments being taken quickly, why does it take authorization fees up to 5 working days to refund? Doesn't feel like it's treating the customer fairly. Something that has ground my gears for a long time. What's the scoop, Ash?
Well, I don't know. This might be a question for Sarah more than me.
I think it might be, but
I thought it might actually.
Yeah. I mean, if you use an All-Star card, there is no pre-authorization fee. But if you use a credit card, yes, there is. And I don't know whether Sarah has more insight in that.
Yeah, thank you. It's something that PayThrough is working very hard. We've just launched or about to launch next week a payments charter which identifies this as a big unfair thing that absolutely doesn't need to happen but does happen all the time. In short, it depends on your merchant. That's the person that's selling something's rules of their bank, and those are agreed at the time of service provision. So they chose that. So even just yesterday, I used 2 different charge point operators and 2 different pre-authorization processes happened. One came back straight away. We call that auto reverse. They took the money they wanted, drive off happy. The other one, I can expect up to 30 days to have that £45 returned to my personal bank card because it wouldn't accept my corporate credit card for payment. And that's another reason why corporate credit cards can't be used so freely on contactless. So anybody who says roaming is contactless cards needs to think carefully about who is included in that sort of best practice category. And that's what we're trying to move towards following the EV Summit, actually, where we were challenged. It's all well talking about this stuff that's wrong, fix it. So we're going to market with the payments charter. We're going to be galvanizing some support from everyone. Delighted that Matt Adams at the REA completely sees the benefits of this, talking also to the Charge UK and also AFP to make sure that fleets aren't stung by stupid things like pre-auths and delayed reimbursement.
And there is, of course, also a massive broadness of the value of the pre-auth, right, as well. So, you know, in like
£1 right through to £45.
Yeah, in some cases it's £45 pre-auth, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, that is also something that can trip people up a lot of the time because they don't know if they go to GridServe and it's £1, they might not know that, and they might go to one of the others and it's £45. That's also not very good for the visibility for the customer.
It sounds very negative, but it is important to point out that that pre-auth is there to protect the merchant. So charge point operators haven't even experienced what is being coined charging fraud. We haven't got mass adoption yet. So people haven't worked out clever ways to take that charge without paying for it yet. So that pre-auth is about, is the bank account real? Is the driver real? Have they got the money to pay? So it is important, but it's all about risk.
John.
I think the I was just going to say that the roaming cards do solve that problem for fleets because they don't have the pre-auth, as Ash mentioned, and I think when you've got that roaming card, and particularly within fleets, and again it comes back to this: the private individual that gets affected by that pre-auth issue. But within the fleets, typically they have the ability to have these cards more effectively, and it can become a lot easier.
As long as they can pay the bill at the end of the month, that's fine. As long as they can pay the bill at the end of the month, then it's fine. So sometimes contactless is better because then you know that bill is paid.
Tor, question for you. Craig Stevenson asks, when do you anticipate shared infrastructure for multiple fleets becoming a reality? And who do you think is best positioned to deliver and manage this? Is it public entities, private companies, or partnerships?
I think it is already happening, but small scale. Of our customer base, both when it comes to taxi companies building their own hubs, they make that available, no matter whether it's on a private side or it is on a public side. Bus companies, the same. You will think, well, you're a bus fleet owner, you would not care about other people coming and charge on your charging stations, but they do also. When it comes to B2B fleets, when they have either company cars or they have fleets servicing their whatever production units, they also open this up. So already now this community is building, but it will of course increase and be enforced as sort of the whole market of e-mobility grows. I think it's a super important component in building the better infrastructure to the more sort of a value of everybody. Community of many is here the option. That is why we, from Spirit side, and I think our peers does the same, it is trying to engage all the infrastructure owners in opening up their charge points so that we can actually utilize money and infrastructure the better way. So it's part of the present, but it's by definition also a much bigger part of the future as well.
Very much so. Good. Thank you, Tor. Very much indeed. Have we got time for any more, JB?
We've got time for one more question.
One? Yeah.
Ian Thompson asks of Ash, is Allstar available for a personal fleet of one vehicle and without a company number or VAT registration?
No, unfortunately not. So if you're not a limited company, then it is difficult for us to service you. However, one of our sister companies, Plugsurfing, which you may have come across, is. So indeed. I'd highly recommend you get yourself over to Plugsurfing or download the app. And yeah, it's exactly the same network. So All-Star runs off the plug surfing. Plug surfing is essentially what powers All-Star behind the scenes. So that's what I recommend.
I found plug surfing very useful when I was in France. Very seamless, nice and simple, activation, all of that good stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Superb. Thank you.
That is all we have time for. Sorry, Jason. I hope everybody enjoyed the last hour. I know that we certainly did. And if you haven't had enough of us, then feel free to follow us on our socials for podcasts, weekly news, monthly webinars, shorts, reels, and more. JC.
We've got some mugs. We've got some mugs. So the following have won mugs. Rich D, you have a mug. Toby H, I think that's Toby Hiles. You have a mug. Ian Thompson, Daryl Sharp, and Booty. You have mugs.
Brilliant.
The final mug, I think, should be allocated by Tom Middleditch. So, Tom, we have the very, very last OG mug. Who do you think should be the recipient of that? It could be anybody.
Is now the time I tell you I don't have an EV Cafe mug? Is that?
I think that's the answer.
There you go.
Shameless.
If you can get in touch with us, hello@evcafe.org, and give us your postal details and we'll send mugs out to you, Tom. We know where you live. We're coming for you.
A quick one before everybody goes. Join us at Fleet Mobility Live and Everything Electric later on. Well, in October. There'll be lots of good stuff happening there and lots of energy being shared.
Thank you, everyone, especially our special guests, our team, and of course, the audience. Goodbye, everybody. Until next time.
Bye. See you later.